So, what's in a name? Well, if you're a business, the answer is pretty much everything. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most important decisions a company can ever make, choosing its name. It's way more than just a label. It's this amazing mix of art, science, and strategy that can literally make or break a company's success. Let's get into it.
You know, the professional namer Rob Meyerson really nailed it with this quote. A brand isn't really real until it has a name. I mean, think about it, right? The name is the very first thing people connect with. It's the mental hook that holds every single thought, feeling, and experience a customer has with you. It's the first word in your entire brand story.
And you want to talk about high stakes? Wow, just look at the recent shift from Twitter to X. This wasn't just a simple logo change. It was a move that vaporized billions, with a B, in brand value seemingly overnight. It just goes to show you that even the biggest companies on the planet have to wrestle with the incredible power that's packed into a single name. So that brings us to a really fundamental question. What is it that makes a name so powerful? Let's break down exactly why it's so much more than just a word you slap on a product.
A great name is basically a multitasking genius. Before you spend a single dollar on marketing, it's already out there, working for you. It tells people what you're offering, sure, but it also carves out your own unique space in a super crowded market. It can even make people feel something positive before they've even touched your product. It's not just a label, it's your first and probably your hardest working asset.
And here's the real kicker. A name is arguably the single most permanent decision a business makes. Seriously, logos, slogans, ad campaigns, all that stuff changes and evolves over time. But the name, that's the foundation. If you get it right, it's going to define who you are for decades to come. Okay, so with all the different kinds of names out there, how do you even start to make sense of them? Well, the pros use this really simple but powerful tool they call the naming spectrum. It's a way to categorize basically any name you can think of, from the super obvious to the totally abstract. Let's check it out. So on one end of the spectrum, you have descriptive names. Think Hotels.com. Yeah, no mystery about what they do. Super clear, but often really hard to trademark. Then right in the middle, you get suggestive names, like Fitbit. It cleverly hints at a benefit, right? Getting fit. And then way over on the far end, you have arbitrary names, like Apple. And Apple has literally nothing to do with computers, which makes the name totally unique and legally strong. But man, it took a massive amount of marketing to build the meaning that it has today. So you might be wondering, where do most of the successful brands land on this thing? Overwhelmingly, they bunch up right in the middle. Suggestive names just seem to hit that sweet spot. They offer that perfect balance of being creative and clear. They get you interested, but they don't leave you totally confused. So how do the professionals actually come up with names like Fitbit or Hulu? It's not about sitting around waiting for some lightning bolt of inspiration to strike. Nope. It's a disciplined, structured process. A playbook designed to take all that creative chaos and turn it into one single perfect name.
We can pretty much boil that whole process down into three main phases. It always starts with strategy. That's creating a brief to figure out exactly what the name needs to do. Then comes creation, the fun part, the brainstorming, generating hundreds, sometimes thousands of ideas. And finally, vetting. This is the tough part. It's a super rigorous process of legal checks, linguistic checks, and of course, checking for domain names to see which names are even usable in the real world.
And this really gets to the heart of it. It's not about just dumping a bunch of Scrabble tiles on the floor and hoping for the best. It's a methodical process of elimination. You're blending all that creative energy with some really tough analytical checks to find that one name that doesn't just sound good, but that actually works hard for the business.
Okay, now we're going to dive into something that I think is just fascinating. We've talked about what a name means, but what about how it sounds? This is where we get into the hidden psychology of phonetics and how the actual sound of a word can totally change how we perceive something. Just think about this for a second. Can a name itself sound rich and creamy? Or can a word feel sharp just based on how you say it? It sounds a little strange, but the answer from linguists and marketers is a huge, resounding yes.
Check out this classic study. It's a perfect example. They asked people to evaluate two made-up ice cream brands. One was named Frisch, which has that high front-of-the-mouth vowel sound. People said it sounded lighter, maybe lower in fat. The other was named Frosch, with that deeper back-of-the-mouth sound. People thought that one sounded richer and creamier. It was the same imaginary product. The only difference was one vowel. That right there is sound symbolism in action.
So what this shows us is that naming is a science, right down to the individual letters you choose. These little phonetic cues are like shortcuts to our brains, and they shape how we feel about a product before we even really know what it is. All right, let's pull all these different threads together. We've looked at the strategy, the spectrum, the professional process, and even the sounds behind a great name. But why does all this matter? Well, because the ultimate goal here is to create one of the most powerful assets a business can ever own.
And that asset is called brand equity. It's basically the sum of all the feelings, experiences, and loyalty that get tied to a brand's name. A strong name with high equity makes a product feel way more valuable than the exact same unbranded product sitting right next to it.
A great name is the foundation where you build all that equity. Every positive experience, every loyal customer, it's like adding another brick to that foundation. It's not just a name anymore. It's a huge competitive advantage that, if you take care of it, gets more and more valuable every single year.
When it comes right down to it, every single interaction a customer has with your brand, it starts with the name. It's the first word of your story. It's the bedrock of everything you're going to become. So the question I'll leave you